Hey everyone, what is up? Now, I'm probably not going to be live streaming for a couple of days because I ended up breaking my USB adapter. I do have some video ideas that I wanted to go through, and one of these video ideas came from a comment that I had in a previous video. This comment. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I ended up watching 3 of the 5 Twilight movies, and they were better than I expected. And that also gave me an idea. If the characters in Twilight had Pokémon teams, what would they look like? Now, I'm barely the first person to do something like this on YouTube. In fact, a massive PokeTuber already had done something like this. There's a PokeTuber called TrueGreen7 who did a series called Pokemon Famous People Would Have, where he covered a variety of famous people and the teams that they would have. So, without further ado, let's get into this video. Now, I want to discuss the 3 most popular characters in Twilight: Edward, Jacob, and Bella. I was also going to do Alice, but I only came up with a team of 2. Those 2 Pokemon were Swoobat and Espeon. So let's get started. The first character I'm going to talk about is Jacob. In the Twilight movies, from what I saw, Jacob is a very active young man who likes to actively work on mechanical projects. And not to mention, he's ripped. And on top of that, he turns into a werewolf when he pleases. So, this is the team that I came up for Jacob. The first 2 Pokemon that I would put on his team are Arcanine and Houndoom. And I think it's quite obvious why I would put these 2 on his team. It's because they're wolves. And I would follow that with Lucario. Now, if you watch my streams, you would know how much of a hard time Lucario has given me over the Brilliant Diamond playthrough. But I would put Lucario in Jacob's team because Lucario is very in tune with its senses. It's also a wolf-like creature, and it's usually very loyal to its trainer. Now, obviously, Jacob is not going to have a trainer, but Jacob does have a love interest by the name of Bella, and Jacob is hella loyal to Bella. Now, the next 2 Pokemon I would put on this team are Girder and Machoke. Girder and Machoke would have very similar roles in Jacob's team. It's because they're both workers and they're both hella powerful. And like I said before, Jacob likes to work on mechanical things like motorcycles and stuff. He's a little bit of a fixer-upper. Girder would be there mostly for the tradesman stuff, but Machoke would additionally be there for the bodybuilding. I was arguing with myself if I want to put a Machoke or a Machamp, but I feel like Machamp would be going way too far for Jacob, plus he doesn't have 4 arms. And if you ask me, Machoke just looks like that bodybuilding type that would really suit Jacob in some training sessions. And the last Pokemon I would have on Jacob's team is a Morpeko. Now, I would have Morpeko there because of its ability of Hunger Switch. With this ability, you see Morpeko changing forms every now and again between Hangry mode and Happy mode. And although Jacob wouldn't necessarily be going through Hangry mode and Happy mode, he'd be going through Human mode and Wolf mode. And if you want to say Hangry mode, you could say he's hungry for Bella. In a love interest way. But that's it. That would be my team for Jacob. Next character, and probably the most popular character as well, Edward. Now, when it comes to Edward, I honestly find it very difficult to put his characteristics into words. But the way I see Edward is he's a vampire with a lot of self-control and a very big love for Bella. Honestly, I don't know how else to explain him. He's also got real cold skin. He's really fast. Apparently he's the fastest in the family. Yeah, like, that's all I got on him. Now, which Pokemon would I put in his team? I'm gonna start off with Gliscor. Gliscor is a vampire Pokemon and perfectly suits that vampire world, plus Robin Pattinson is Batman. And I would also follow that with a Cryogonal. Cryogonal is a pretty rare Pokemon in the wild and can only be spotted during winter time, barely ever during summertime. It is said that if Cryogonal experiences temperatures above its normal, it will turn into mist. And this Pokemon can only be seen in the winter time, and I think that's a perfect representation of the climate that Edward likes to live in. I honestly don't know any Pokemon that starts to glow when they go into the sun, but I feel like turning into mist when you go into the sun is close enough. The next Pokemon I would have on Edward's team is Orbeetle. Orbeetle has the ability Telepathy, and Edward is a telepath as well. When it comes to Orbeetle, Orbeetle uses telepathy so it can predict an upcoming attacking move and evade that attack. But although there are a lot of Pokemon that have telepathy, I feel like Orbeetle suits Edward the best. As I mentioned before, one of Edward's abilities is that he is super fast, and I think that's just the perfect reason to have Ninjask on his team. Ninjask is one of the fastest Pokemon in the game behind all the legendaries, and I really don't want to put any legendaries on these teams. And it perfectly portrays that Edward is super fast because of its own speed. The next Pokemon I would have in there is Absol. Another one of Edward's defining factors is he has an extremely long lifespan. And I think that's where a Pokemon that also has an extremely long lifespan can come into work. For example, Absol. It is said that Absols can live for up to 100 years, and also that they can sense a lot of disaster. Because of Edward's telepathy, Edward can also sense a lot of disaster. Now, if I'm being absolutely honest here, I was having an extremely hard time to find a 6th Pokemon to put on Edward's team. But I concluded the 6th Pokemon should be Drampa. Why? It's because Drampa is very loyal to its trainer, and in one of its Pokedex entries, it says, if a child it has made friends with is bullied, Drampa will find the bully's house and burn it to the ground. Now, from what I can see, Edward does have the self-control of not doing property destruction, but in one of the Twilight movies, a situation did happen where he thought Bella died and he tried to go and kill himself. Don't look up to Edward, kids. But that is the team that I would have for Edward. Last but not least, maybe the least, Bella. Now again, I think Bella is a pretty bland character. If this video says anything, it's the fact that I think Jacob is the only character with a little bit of depth. But this is the team that I came up with for Bella, and please don't go chopping off my neck for some of these decisions. The first 2 Pokemon that I would have on Bella's team are a reflection of the 2 men that she loves, which are Gliscor and Arcanine. Gliscor representing Edward, Arcanine representing Jacob. The next Pokemon I would have on her team is Sudowoodo. Why? Because Sudowoodo is also a very bland character. In the Twilight movies, Bella is notorious for only having one expression on her face. In the Pokemon game, Sudowoodo is notorious for only having one pose during battle. And that's why I think those 2 fit perfectly together, because they're just as boring as each other. Psyduck always gets headaches because it has psychological problems. Bella always has nightmares because I'm assuming psychological problems. And I think that's where those 2 collide with each other. Now, the next 2 Pokemon are a reflection of where Bella lived. The first one being Torquel. Torquel has the ability Drought, and when that ability is in use, a harsh sunlight comes onto the battlefield. Now, where is this representative of? Arizona. And there's one more ability that Torquel has that I think explains Bella perfectly. Shell Armor. When Bella eventually becomes a vampire, she finds out that she has a special ability, which is a shield. This shield cloaks herself and any vampires around her from having any psychological abilities affect them. And I think that sort of protection is very reminiscent of Torquel's shell armor. And the last Pokemon on Bella's team will be Frostlass. Frostlass is an Ice-type Pokemon, and I think is pretty reminiscent of the other state that she lives in, Washington State. Frostlass can only be found in cold places, such as Washington State, and most likely in mountainous areas as well, like Washington State. In fact, I think this Pokemon is most like Bella, because of this reason. In a Pokédex entry for one of the games, it freezes hikers who have come to climb snowy mountains and carries them back to its home. It only goes after men it thinks are handsome. Now, there is a whole segment in Twilight where Edward and Jacob are taking her up a snowy mountain, and Edward and Jacob, some people might say, are handsome men as well. But I just think after she becomes a vampire, that's just very reminiscent of what she is. If she finds a man handsome, she will take him back up the snowy mountains. Now, that might have been controversial when it came to making the Pokemon team for Bella, but the other 2, I feel like that was real smooth. But that's all I have for this video. I know most of my subscribers are into Rugby League, so I was thinking sometime after the new year I might do a video that's very similar to this one, but about footy players. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Socials are down in the description. Take care.